Right. Good afternoon, Mr. George. Thank you so much for inviting me. And what a pleasure to listen to you, Aaron. Thank you so much for sharing. I have made a lot of notes, some things to take away, and I believe our parents have done so as well. And thank you, Evangelist, as well, for teaching us earlier on today. Truly grateful. Yes, so my name is Funmi Oni. I run Gordium Coaching and Counseling Services here in the UK. And a little bit about my background. So I have a similar background to Aaron. So I was nodding my head away when you were talking about your history. You know, I was born here. My parents took me back to Nigeria, and I felt the same way. You know, people back in Nigeria would think, who is this one? Why is she talking this way? She talks funny. And coming back to England, I don't speak either. So I'm neither Nigerian and I'm neither British. Who am I? Well, I am a Zionite. So thank God for Jesus. I'm truly grateful for you sharing that information with us. So it does put a lot of things into perspective. But today I am going to be sharing on career development and transition. And I'm quite passionate about it because, like so many people, what I found is, especially from African background, our parents tell you need to become a doctor, a lawyer, you need to become, all these prestigious professions. And so I ended up with an economics degree, which after a while I thought, no, this is not me. I'm not passionate about it at all. But my daddy wanted me to become an accountant, so I did ICANN. But I realized, no, this is not who I am. There's no fulfillment, there's no passion, nothing at all. But God in his infinite mercy connected me with some people where by the grace of God, 1 year, I volunteered in a non-governmental organization where they looked after women. And that was where I came in contact with what I was naturally born to do. And that is to encourage and support people along their journey in life. And that's why today I'm so excited that I'm going to be speaking about career development and career transition. So I'm going to share my slides, hopefully, within this short period of time that I have. Right, I'm unable to share my screen. Would you be able to help me with that?
Yeah, I've made you the host now, so you can share now.
Okay, brilliant. Okay. All right, so this is me. Okay, I'm just taking a little bit of time to come up. Right, okay. So I'm going to be talking to us, or hopefully encouraging and challenging us as parents. We've heard a lot about children, how we need to raise our children, how we need to support our teenagers. But now I'm going to bring it back to us as parents. One day our children will grow and they will live in us. So all the time and energy that we have spent pouring into them, when they leave, where would we be in terms of our career? What will we be doing with our time? Unfortunately, a lot of people leave this side of their lives to focus on their children. They leave their career, they leave their, their own thing that they should be doing. God said we should be fruitful, not just in the area of child rearing, but also in terms of our own career. We need to be fruitful. So a lot of us, we do leave that part of ourselves. And when our children are grown, we are, there's nothing for us to do. And unfortunately, some parents divorce after 34, 35 years of marriage because they've neglected their relationship with their spouse. They've neglected their own career, So you find out, and it's quite sad, you find out after 30, 40 years, people are divorcing. You're thinking, what on earth? The other day, I heard about McDonald's, Trevor McDonald, leaving his wife for 34 years. You know, you hear about this and it's quite disheartening. And it's because we fail to pay attention to the things that matter most, you know, to us. So we're going to be looking at how do we go from where we are to our desired future. So the first thing that we need to do, if you are not currently in a place where, you know, you are enjoying satisfaction, where you're happy, you know, if you're one of those that wake up in the morning and you're just going to, you know, pick the box to get money to pay bills. Life is more than just paying bills. We should enjoy our work. We should enjoy the things that we do on a daily basis, aside from parenting, you know. So this is the thing that we're going to be talking about. We're looking at career. My screen is a bit frozen and I don't know why. Right, okay. So what do I mean by career development? It is a lifelong process. Now with career development, it's not something that you wake up in the morning and you think, okay, in 5 years' time, I'm done, I'm just dead. It's what you do throughout your working life. And some people, even up to retirement, because they're so passionate about what they do, even after retirement, you still see that they still carry on doing what they're doing. Maybe on a lesser note, not as busy and as intense as it used to be in the heydays, but because it's their life, they just love it. You find that they continue to see what they're doing. So when we talk about career development, we're looking at what we need to do so that we can retain our relevance in our chosen field, so that we can advance and we reach our goals in terms of our career. Okay, and it's such a beautiful thing that we are Christians, and Christians, Bible says, to whom much is given, much is expected. Okay, so if you have been given something, and we all know that we all have a talent, we all have seeds that God has planted in us. He expects you to grow. He expects you to flourish. Okay, so we need to find out what that is if you are not there already. Okay, so career progression, on the other hand, talks about us moving up the ladder in our chosen fields. Okay, I've given an example here of a medical student, you know, who aims to become a general practitioner. So if you're a medical student, you want to start out, your goal is to become a practitioner. So how do you get to where you want to get to? It's important that we learn how to map that out as people. And that's just an example. Whatever your chosen career is that you have decided that you want to do, you need to map it out. And transition. Now, I spoke about myself that I started out as an economics student, graduated from economics, graduated in 2002. After a while, I realized that this is not what I wanted to do. I needed to change my career. Okay, so career transition talks about that period where you want to change your role. Maybe even in your organization, you might have started out as an administrative officer, and you realize, oh, there's more to me. I like numbers, I like figures. I want to become an analyst. You know, so it talks about you changing. It talks about change from what you used to do into something entirely different, and that would map out. It has to do with your passion and what your vision was like, or the vision of God that God has given to you. So how do I move from where I am to where I want to be, either growth, development, transition? You need to assess yourself as parents or as young people. We need to assess ourselves. What do I mean by assessing? Know who you are. And it's interesting that Evangelist talked about this earlier on as well. So when he was talking, I was just like, yeah, thank God for the Holy Spirit. Excuse me. You know, we need to know who you are. Who are you as a person? What interests you? Okay, and how do you know that? I use what I call a value system. So there's a list of values that I have when I'm working with my clients. So you want to know what you love to do naturally. Are you someone who is moved by compassion? Are you someone who, you just thinking about money? Thinking about money is not a bad thing in itself. What do you want to do with the money? Are you someone who, you want power? Desiring power is not wrong. What do you do with the power? You want to help your oppressed. What are those things that you see in society that draws your attention? That, presses a button in you. Some people might come into a house, for example, and the first thing they see is colors. They're like, wow, they appreciate the colors in the building, in the house. Another person might just come in and just, they're oblivious to the colors. But the person who attention has been drawn to those colors might be an interior designer, So what interests you. And I want to speak to our strengths and our weaknesses. I use SWOT analysis a lot when I'm assessing clients. You want to know what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are. You want to also be able to know what opportunities are out there that can speak to your strengths. You want to know those things that are threats to you, regards to either transitioning or developing your career as a person. And Aaron talked about the love language. I'll talk about your personality here. You need to know yourself. Are you a naturally outgoing person? Are you sanguine? Are you melancholy? Are you someone who is, you want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted? Are you phlegmatic? You want to know your personality as an individual. Where God has created us uniquely. We are all unique human beings, and we are all created to do various things, and then your ambition. It's important that you know what are those things. And when we're talking about ambition, you ask the questions of why. Why do you want to do what you want to do? Is it because a lot of people are doing it? And that's another thing that is so popular in our locality. Someone opens a shop and everybody wants to open a shop. Someone is selling something and everybody's rushing to sell that thing because it's making money. What are those things that are unique to you? Why do you do what you want to do? Who are you doing it for? How do you want to do it? These are questions that you need to ask yourself whilst you are assessing yourself. Okay? Now, faith is important. God created us all for a purpose, So in you deciding what career you want to work in, and can I tell us that age is not a barrier? A lot of people that I work with, especially we work with people, and some people are like, oh, I'm too old to start that now. I'm in my 50s, I'm in my 40s. Age is not a barrier. If God could use Caleb, he can use you, he can start with you. If God could start with Moses when he was well over 40, then how much you? So if you feel the things you're doing, the kind of roles that you're in at the moment, it's because, a lot of us, we find ourselves doing a certain role. Maybe we came into the country and the people that we met were all doing care jobs. There's nothing wrong with care jobs, but if you're not passionate about it, you're only doing it because you need to pay your bills. Then you need to step back and ask yourself these genuine questions, right? Don't consider your age. Don't think you're too young, neither don't think you're too old. Trust God, trust God that God is able to do. He's able to do the exceeding, the abundant. He's able to take you from where you are to where he wants you to be, So it's important that if you call yourself a child of God, then let's behave like a child of God that we are. Let's put our faith into action, okay? And I'm not even saying that we should stop where we don't stop your job. No, keep doing your job, but then start something by the side. Start something by the side. by the grace of God, I was working with the council, I think, when I went back to school and I started studying. And there are a lot of things out there, that we can avail ourselves of. So hold, if you know the God that you said, hold on to him and start where you are, start now. Right, okay. My screen keeps sorry about this, folks. Okay. Right, we're going to go through our roadmap, and that talks to us about our options. What are the options that you have? So you've done your self-assessment, right? You know what your strengths are. You know what your weaknesses are. You know the things that you master. Now let's look at the options that you have. Okay, look at the industry trend. There's no point going into something where there's no demand, right? So you need to understand the laws of supply and demand, and then educational path, right? If you need to upskill. And it's so nice at this period, at this time where, yes, unfortunately we have the pandemic, but there are a lot of resources out there now in terms of certification. So you don't need to go into back to school to do, well, if you have to, then by all means do. But there are also other short courses that you can do that can help you to increase in knowledge. Now, if you have a degree, for example, and you are competing with these Generation Z, you need to upskill because our world is constantly evolving. The things that are relevant yesterday are no longer relevant today, okay? Cars, I use cars as an example. There was a time where having a car was a luxury. Yeah, if you had a car, you must be earning a lot of money. And then we moved from having manual cars to having automated cars. Yeah, so people moved into automated. And then now you have the electric cars, and things are constantly evolving. I was thinking about my, growing up, when my parents were going out to work in the morning, they would cook our lunch. They would put it inside warmers. So you get back from school, you get your food in a warmer. Now, who has a warmer in the house today when there's a microwave? So we have to make sure that our skills are relevant with this time, okay? And your work environment also. Where do you want to work in? Do you want to have your own business? Do you want to work in an organization? Think it out and map what you want to really do. Dream. God has given us the ability to dream dreams. So let's dream dreams and trust God that God would make all things work together for our good as we begin to map out our career. Right. So we talked about here our action plan, which is the fourth pie chart. Action plan. So now you know what you want to do as an adult. As a parent, or as an individual, you know what you want to do in terms of your career. How do you get there? It's important that you work with people who are like-minded. A lot of people will put you down. A lot of people will discourage you. Some people are like, at this age, you want to do this. No, you need to work with people who will cheer you on, people who will champion your cause, people who would encourage you, who would motivate you, okay? So it's important that you make your decisions, you set your goals. In 10 years' time, this is where I want to be. When God created this world, he placed the seed of a thing in a fruit. He started with the end in mind. And that's the God that we serve. He started with the end in mind. So he didn't create a tree and say, okay, this is going to be an apple. No, he created that seed of the apple or the seed of the in the fruit. Okay? So when people say, oh, I don't have a 10 years, I don't even know, you have to work by faith. That in 10 years' time, this is where I want to see myself. This is what I want to achieve with my life in 10 years' time. And actively set long, medium, short-term goals. And this is SMART. SMART is an acronym for specific. You need to be specific. You need to know what it is you want to achieve. You need to be measurable. You need to be able to achieve that goal. It has to be realistic and it has to be time bound. Okay? And prioritize. I have a matrix, it's called an audience, not audience matrix, right? So when you're prioritizing, you need to know which ones are audience, which ones are important, but not audience. What I have found is that a lot of times, the things that we really need to do are those things that we procrastinate. Okay, those things that we need to do that would really make an impact, we leave it to the last minute. And then we start doing the things that we think are urgent. Phone calls, you know, thank God for social media and the like. You know, they take up so much of our time. So much. You'll be surprised the amount of time that we spend on social media, checking someone's updates. You know, sometimes you just want to check something and the next thing it leads to another. Before you know it, 30 minutes of your time is gone, never to come back again. 1 hour is gone. Action plan. So investigate what matters by asking your investigative questions and then do a reality check. So at every junction, check how far have I gone? Am I still, you know, en route? Am I still doing the things I said I was going to do? And then the last there is, how do I get there? How do I get to where I want to get to? Personal career branding, job searching, networking. Networking is important. I use LinkedIn. There are a lot of networking platforms out there that can actually help us. Applications is a good thing that if there's someone that is going to be speaking to us about that today. And work experience. One of the things that helped me to get to where I am now was volunteering. I volunteered, and it was in Nigeria, where it's not so common, because you're thinking about money. Everything is not money. I had the opportunity to volunteer, and I didn't even think that, it was a waste of my time at all, because I realized I enjoyed doing it. I did it for a year, helping young women, you know, destitute, and some of them were even into prostitution, just helping them to get off what they were doing and to draw themselves on some training, you know. And that really opened my eyes to counseling. It opened my eyes to coaching, which God helped me to do later on. So if there is something that you think you want to do, volunteer. Volunteer your services, you know, because you are giving and you are getting. I know Pastor said it's more blessed to give than to receive, and that's so true. Because in your giving, you're adding a lot of value to yourself, consciously or unconsciously. Okay? And then yes, it's important, if you can, avail yourself of the service of the coach. Avail yourself of the service of the coach. Because what coaches do, they hold your hand, they encourage you, they cheer you on. And they're not judgmental at all. You know, they are there to support you. They're there to help you so that you are accountable to someone. Okay? You are accountable to someone. That person is asking you, have you done your action point? Have you, you know, and that helps you to make progress. So this is the whole thing that I've just spoken to us about in a nutshell, from self-assessment, your options, your action point, and your evaluation. So you want to know who you are as a person. You want to know what your options are. You want to know how do you get there, you know, and when will you get there? You know, Bible says, will someone, I'm going to paraphrase now, would you start a building without first counting the cost? Okay, so first you want to know that, make sure that you are faithful. You're making use of the thing that God has given to you, because God is going to ask you, what have you done with the resources that I've given to you? I always like to refer to God as a businessman. You know, he has invested in us. He's expecting something back. Okay, so he's going to ask us, what have you done with your talent? He's not going to listen to the excuses that, oh, I was busy looking after the children. Yes, he expects you to do that, but also he has given you the grace to stress. He has given you the grace to do, and he has made available the resources that you would need to do. Okay, opportunity, when it needs preparation, there will be an explosion. But if there are opportunities and we are not prepared to make use of those opportunities that God is making available to us, then we only have ourselves to blame. You know, so it's important as parents, as young people, that we make use of all these resources that God is giving to us. And finally, in wrapping up quickly, I think my time is going. Obstacles. I'm just going to quickly talk us through the obstacles to career development and possible solutions. 1, lack of idea. I don't know what I want to do. Do your self-assessment. It will help you, okay? So being aware of your own strengths is important. And you must set goals, okay? If you aim at nothing, what will happen? If we aim at nothing, we will hit nothing, okay? And inability to take risks is another one. Your thoughts drive action. So when you change your thoughts, your actions will naturally follow suit, okay? So it's important that we change our mindset. Stop believing that you can't do it, and start believing in the word that you carry every day, that God has given you the grace to do the above and the beyond. I don't have the qualification, experience. I just explained to us. Volunteer if you can. Upskill. There are lots of certification programs out there that you can avail yourself of. Let's make use of that. I've not worked in a long period of time. Voluntary work can also help in that area. When you volunteer or you do some side hustle, if you get an opportunity to, you know, be interviewed for a job, you can explain what you've done in the brief time that you haven't done anything. You can say, oh, you've been doing X, Y, rather than say, oh, I've just been waiting, I've been checking, I've been just content. Thank you so much for listening to me today. God bless you all.
Wow. Thank you, Ma. God bless. Let's clap for Jesus. Let's clap for Jesus. Thank you, Ma. Well, we've learned a lot from you. God bless you, Ma. Thank you. So our parent, this slide will be available to us. And if you are not, if you've not joined our parent group, so you can do not hesitate to get in touch with me or speak with whoever has invited you so that I can, you know, send you this information. So thank you. So the next person, our next speaker is Dr. Lola Ayogbaye. So welcome on board, Ma. Yeah, I can't see yet. Okay.